So let me fill you in on what's going on with my car situation. On July 8, 2025, I purchased a 2019 Porsche Cayenne from Chicago. So I saw the ad here in Nashville and I flew out to Chicago to test drive it. Everything seemed to go well. And I did the paperwork. I drove 9 hours back home. That was a Thursday. And then over the weekend, the car stayed in my garage. So on Tuesday, I went back onto the road because I drive a lot for work. I drove from Nashville to Cleveland, Ohio, and everything was, I had no issues driving from Nashville to Cleveland. However, from Cleveland to Detroit, I ended up, going through some farm roads and my right tire blew. Lucky for me, there was a good Samaritan that I, waved down. He said, do you have a spare? And I said, yes. So in the 95-degree weather outside, he tried to help me put on a spare tire. Turns out it was one of those inflatable tires. And I find out that I don't have an inflator in the car. Lucky for us, he had a friend who had one that he purchased from. So he had a friend who purchased one from Costco and he brought it to us. On my drive from Cleveland to Detroit, I called the dealership, and mind you, this is just 7 days after the purchase. And I said, what's going on? The color on the doors, the plastic part of the car doors on both front passenger and driver's seat were peeling. So I blew that myself. The air conditioning was kind of making a little bit of noise and it was kind of mild when it blew, but it was still cold. And he gave me the runaround. He said, well, you bought the car, as is, you didn't get a warranty. You test drove it, right? I said, yeah. Well, on Monday, I have a Porsche inspection here in Nashville. So let me see what else is going on. So now I had to drive 9 hours back from Detroit to Nashville. Of course, I spent $400 just on one tire. So Monday comes around, I go to the Porsche dealership here in Nashville. I paid $571 for just the inspection. Turns out there's numerous things. The drains have to be cleaned. I need a set of 4 tires because they're all different treads and misaligned. I need the cooling system cleaned, and there's a knocking noise in the engine they were seriously worried about. So they said there's a critical issue that they're worried about, the knocking noise in the engine. Well, I said, thanks for letting me know. The estimate for the so-called repairs was going to be $3,500. And the very next day, my air conditioning stopped working altogether. I drive 6 to 7 hours each way when I travel for work each week. That week was 95 degrees out. I was miserable. Me and my poor dog were so miserable in the car. I called Nashville Porsche and I let them know that the air conditioning in my car finally died. And they gave me a quote that the parts were going to be $790, but the labor, 31 hours to repair it, is going to cost $6,800. So I bought the car as is without warranty because I thought I might have a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month to look into what kind of extended warranty I want to buy. I didn't even have that much time. Long story short, I went and got a second opinion at Luxury Imports here in Nashville, and they said they can fix my air conditioning. The blower is out for $1,500. But because I told him there's a knocking noise in the engine, can you just take a look at the engine also? Well, he tells me, your AC is not the only problem. You have a major problem in your hands. Your engine is about to blow. We found metal in the oil and in the filter, which means it's steel on steel. I shouldn't be driving this car. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know how they sold it to me. So of course I called the dealership and let them know the findings, and they did not care, of course. And at that point I said, you know what? Let me do this. I would rather lose $1,500 out of pocket instead of the $36,000 that I have this loan on now. So I thought of a bright idea to sell the car to a dealership. Turns out I can't even do that because I don't have the title. And I said, yeah, I don't have it. I just bought it on July 8th. It takes at least 30 days for them to get the application. And this is all before end of July. Well, they said we can't pick it up because you don't have the title. It's still under the first owner's name, which means this dealership sold me a vehicle they don't even own. They don't have the title, which means Lord knows when I'm going to get my title. I cannot do anything with this car. I'm basically paying for a car that's sitting in my garage that's not even mine, which is kind of considered a stolen car. So I'm paying payments on a car that's essentially considered stolen, right? I'm not driving this car. What I have to do is take an Uber to the airport, get a rental car, and drive for work so I can have air conditioning and I'm safe on the road. It's not drivable. And then I let the dealership know. They did not care. They don't even answer my calls anymore. So I decided to file a BBB report, Attorney General's report, and the Illinois State Police because of the title situation, which all takes time. I could not even get a lawyer to take my case because it's not a personal injury. They're not going to make any money. I did finally find an attorney. I paid $260 for a consult. Then he wanted a $4,000 retainer. Hopefully writing a demand letter will help us solve this problem. This Moms and Pops dealership actually had 2 other lawsuits of the similar kind, and they did win. So hopefully I can get this resolved without losing too much money out of pocket. After I spoke with the attorney, I was going through my documents and I said, hold up. So the car was advertised $33,000, and with the taxes, the registration, the other fees, the doc fees, it came up to $36,000. I put $2,500 down on my credit card. Why is the loan with Capital One saying that I owe $34,650 or such? Turns out, I found out later that they forged my signature on gap insurance. They purchased gap insurance without my consent and forged my signature. So it was $1,000 more out of pocket that I am paying for. So this dealership is really scandalous. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to spend any more money on rental cars. I have to go buy another car while this is sitting in my garage, not knowing what's going to happen, or I can't drive it. It's a nice looking black on black 2019 Porsche Cayenne. I've had numerous issues, and now when I put the car in reverse and I'm like, taking off, I hear this scratching noise as if you're pulling steel on concrete. I'm like, what the heck is that? So now the transmission's about to act up. Really? The whole powertrain went down? Did I really purchase a lemon? Guys, I don't know what to do. Can I get some advice?